I got to my job, and there were 4 steps. And they looked like a mountain to me. So I did just like I did right now. Yeah, I took a breath. Yeah, I'm remembering. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I can climb up these steps. You know, they're small steps, but they look really big. So what I did is I got out and I just did 1 step at a time. So the first step, I made it. And then the second step, I made it. And then the third step, I made it. And I'm getting really happy because I'm conquering each one, you know. And so I'm like, all right, got the steps, you know. Little baby steps, by the way. There were like 4 of them. I got up them, and then I'm like, all right, so time to walk in and, you know, go tell your boss not to fire you. There's really not any other way to say that. So I'm like, okay, so I walk in, you know, and I had my plan. I knew exactly what I was going to tell my boss, you know. I was going to tell him, look, I've been through a lot in my life, and I can handle this. I can deal with it. You know, like anything else, I'll figure it out. If I have to get here early, if I have to go through the motions, no matter what I have to do, you know, I'll do it. Just please don't let me lose my job. And so I went in and I sat in his office, and he is a Christian man, by the way, which I wasn't going to find out until, it's funny how I didn't even question that before, but I would find that out, that he's a Christian man. So anyways, I sit down in his chair and I proceed to tell him, and I'm like, you know, I'm really sorry that I've missed a lot of work, and I know that being late today is unacceptable. The gas got turned off because I've been so sick, and things have just been piling up, and I don't want to make any more excuses, you know. I can do this. If I have to get up earlier, no matter what I have to do, I can do this. Please don't let me go. And my boss sits there and he lets me finish, and he lets me continue, you know, he does. He lets me continue to speak, and he's like, Candace, I can't let you work today, and I'm sorry you drove here, but I can't even let you drive home. You are really sick, and you can't be here right now. And I had only known this person for like a year, okay? And so he leaves, and he's like, I'll be right back. So he goes into the warehouse, and he gets the one person, the warehouse manager, okay? So I'm talking to the main boss at my job, and then he's going and getting the main boss out of the warehouse. And he comes in, and his name's Sean. And they're like, okay, we're going to take you home. One of us is going to drive your car, and then you'll ride with one of us. But you can't be here today. And so I have 2 of the most important people at the place taking me home. And I'm just getting worse as they stand up with me. One of them is on each arm. And as I take each step, my right leg starts failing and my left leg starts swelling. I can't walk. I didn't know it, but I couldn't walk. I thought, man, I'm so glad this was their answer. I can't believe I can't walk right now. And so they put me in the car and they drove me home. And as they take me inside and they set me on the couch, and, you know, I'm just sitting on the couch, and they put the space heater. They brought a space heater from work because it was cold, and they know how cold I get because, you know, I turn purple when I get cold. That's part of my Raynaud's phenomenon. And they're like, okay, do you need anything else? Is there anything else we could do? And I'm looking up at these guys, and I'm like, I don't even know them. And look what they're doing for me, you know? And so I'm sarcastic. And I said, well, considering you're the bosses at the company, don't you think you should get back to work? And they laugh, and, you know, they go ahead and they leave. And I'm getting worse by the minute. It just seems like every part of me just really isn't, it's just not working right. I mean, I don't really know how else to say that. So, sorry, it's kind of hard to talk about. So I call my husband and I tell him, baby, I can't walk. And Chris and Sean brought me home. And he's like, what? And I'm like, whoa, is he mad at me? What's up with that? And he's like, why did they bring you home? why didn't they bring you to the hospital? And I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Yeah, baby, you're right. Let me call my sisters. I'll call my sisters and they'll get me right to the hospital. So I hang up and I call one of my sisters, and she lives like 45 minutes away. So I don't know why I dialed her first, but I did. And she's like, I'm really sorry, I can't get there right now. And I'm like, that's okay. I don't know why I didn't call Andy because she's closer, So I called Andy, and all I had to say was, I can't walk. And Andy hung up the phone, and just like who she is, her real name's Andrea, she was here almost immediately. And my brother-in-law was with her. That was her husband at the time. And she comes to the door, and she's like, okay, let's go. I just looked at her, and, in my family, me and my sisters have been through a lot. We lost our parents really early. And so I think we try to protect each other, and I didn't know how to do this because I didn't want her to know how bad it was, but at the same time, I had to let her know that I wasn't walking out of my house. I needed to be carried. So I said, Andy, I can't walk. I can't really move, so I need you to help me. And so I could see it in her eyes. She is freaked out, And she's like, okay. And so she goes and she tells Joey, she's like, come on, Joey, she can't walk. We need to get her to the hospital. She can't really move. And so they help me to the car, or to Andrew's car, and then Joey goes to the hospital, and he gets there first so he could get a wheelchair. And like every minute that goes by, I just keep remembering it just kept getting worse and worse. And Andrea rolls me in the wheelchair, and she rolls me into the emergency room. And I remember her saying, do you want me to put you in the corner? So, you don't have to be sitting by anybody. And I'm just sitting like this. I'm just frozen. And I have my head down. I remember saying, yeah, please just put me in the corner. And so she did, and I'm sitting there. I just remember hurting so bad. Every piece of me was hurting so bad. And then, okay, this is a little bit of comedy, okay? So then my sister comes up to me, and I'm sitting like this, and my iPhone comes in front of me like this. And she's like, Candace, was your iPhone like this? And it was cracked. The whole screen was shattered. And I was like, oh. I started crying. I was like, what did I do? And I could see my sister just barely, and she just looked at Joey, and she's like, don't worry. She's asking him how much it was. How much is this, And she's like, don't worry, we'll pay for it. We'll get it taken care of, okay? And I'm like, okay, I don't really care, But it was really funny because she's thinking, oh God, we broke this phone. I don't know how expensive it is, but now we gotta fix it. But anyway, so I don't remember leaving the emergency room and going into the room. I don't remember that at all. But anyway, so sorry, y'all got a little teary-eyed. It's a really emotional day. So anyways, the next thing I remember, I woke up and I was talking to my sister Shuri, and I told her that everything that's been happening to me was pieces of my dream. And there's a lot of different parts of the story. Like when all this started, I had gone to the hospital and I'd gotten a shot of morphine in my hand, and the doctor put the shot of morphine in my hand and then just like ran away. He went to go do something else, I guess, but my hand's just blowing up. But the man who did the shot, when that happened, and it went through my head, like, this is it. It's being activated, like my disease was being activated. It's really weird. But anyways, that doctor looked like the doctor in my dream. And I remember thinking that, like, I told my best friend when she got there, I said, it's really weird. he looked like the doctor in that dream. I'm like, you remember that dream I told you about? But anyway, so I was telling Sheree all this, and I was telling her that I thought I was going to die. And I didn't think I was coming out of there. And I just knew, because it was like I was living out that dream. And again, I didn't want to tell her, because I didn't want to scare her, but I was so scared. And I'm on all this medicine, and they have me on all kinds of pain medicines, and I'm still hurting really bad. And then I don't remember a big gap again. I don't remember anything until I was hurting again, and I have 3 best friends that are just like sisters. God bless me with them. Jennifer, Carrie, and Melissa, and we've been friends for almost 20 years, and each one of them was like rubbing one of my arms and my leg, my legs, because they were hurting so bad. And I remember saying, just go to your happy place. Just go to your happy place, because it hurts so bad. And when I did, that's when I was walking on the beach with Jesus. And he was holding my hand. And you know how a kid holds your hand, that's just how they grab your hand. I don't really know how to explain that, but I didn't see his face. He was holding my hand, and it was like I was beside him, but I was behind him. And I saw his hair, his brown hair, his white robe, and his Jesus sandals. But it was like, in the spirit, like I was beside him, but I was behind him. And I've thought of that so many times ever since. He was calling me to follow him. But more than anything, God won't give you more than you can handle. And I couldn't handle that. And I wasn't going to be able to handle by myself the things that would happen even after the hospital. So, okay. So that's the beginning of this part, and that's part 3. And there is so much more. God continued to lead me. He gave me a voice, a singing voice. And he would help me draw things, because the enemy was going to come at me, and he prepared me for certain things. And I realized when they were coming, and I knew they were coming. More than anything, he brought me more joy than I could have ever expected. I'm still sick. I still have what I have, but it's not the same. I'm not scared to die anymore. When the Lord calls me, I'm ready to go. Now when I think of going to heaven, I smile, because that love that I felt, the overwhelming love that Jesus has shown me, and even in that brief moment that I was there, you can't replace that. There's nothing like it, and I'd go home at the first chance, I wouldn't commit suicide. I don't believe in that. But if it was my time and he called me, I'd go. Without a doubt, when you feel the love, the overwhelming love of Jesus, you realize where all love came from. So, I'll try to put some more stories on. I had changed. My vocabulary was totally different. I used to cuss like a trucker. I'm embarrassed of that. I'm sitting here by myself right now, and that embarrasses me, but I did. Sorry, truckers, no offense there, but my father-in-law's a trucker, okay? But I didn't cuss at all. It just wasn't in my vocabulary. And I changed a lot, and over the next part of my testimony, you will get to see how my friends and my family, they all just kind of spread out, and they didn't really know what to think, and so they left. I got out of the hospital, and I couldn't walk, and my heart rate was at explode level, and the doctors are telling me, don't stress or you'll die. And I'm learning to breathe. I had one of the best, amazing things happen to me ever, but I had all this other stuff happening too. So I will tell you more stories, but for now, I just want to talk about